What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be showing you how to install our full intercooler kit for the 2022 plus Honda Civic Si. So let's get right into it. Just a quick note that in this video, we're only going to be showing you how to install the intercooler kit. So in order to take off the stock components, please refer to your OEM service manual. For the first step, transfer the lower mounting grommets from the stock intercooler to the lower pegs on the Mishimoto intercooler. After that, transfer the grommets from the stock upper mounting brackets onto the Mishimoto mounting brackets.
If you're installing the stock intercooler pipes, be sure to install the blue and red adapters on each side as shown. If using Mishimoto piping, ignore this step as these parts will not be used when installing the Mishimoto intercooler with Mishimoto piping.
Then, using needle nose pliers, compress the plastic clip and remove the ambient air temperature sensor from the plastic crash bar cover. Then remove the clip securing the wire harness to the plastic cover. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 2 bolts securing the plastic cover to the crash bar. Then, using a flathead screwdriver, remove the 2 pop clips on the bottom of the cover and the 4 pop clips on the top and remove the plastic cover from the vehicle. Once that's done, use a 10mm socket to remove the 2 bolts on the top of the plastic tray below the intercooler and the 2 bolts on the bottom of the plastic tray. Then, using a flathead screwdriver, remove the 3 pop clips on the bottom of the tray and remove the tray from the vehicle. After that, place the Mishimoto intercooler into the lower intercooler mounts on the vehicle and install the Mishimoto mounting brackets. The brackets are labeled L for left and R for right, as seen when sitting in the vehicle. Using a 10mm socket, secure the brackets with the stock bolts. Ignore the blue and red adapters as shown. These parts will not be used when installing the Mishimoto intercooler with the Mishimoto piping. Using a 10mm socket or Phillips head screwdriver, loosen the hose clamp connecting the stock resonator coupler to the stock cold side pipe. Then, using a 10mm socket, remove the 3 bolts securing the resonator to the vehicle and remove the resonator and coupler. Next, using a 5.5mm socket or Phillips head screwdriver, loosen the clamp securing the intake tube to the manifold. Then unplug the connector from the MAF sensor and unclip the 2 clips holding the airbox lid to the airbox. Then remove the lid and filter from the vehicle. Then, using a flathead screwdriver, remove the pop clip on the air duct. Then, using a 10mm socket, remove the 4 bolts securing the air duct and airbox to the vehicle. Lift the airbox straight up to remove the grommet from the post on the vehicle and remove the airbox from the vehicle. Once that's done, use a 10mm socket or Phillips head screwdriver to loosen the clamp securing the cold side coupler to the upper cold side pipe. Remove the coupler and lower cold side pipe from the vehicle. Next, unplug the connectors on both sensors on the upper cold side pipe. Then, using needle nose pliers, release the plastic clip holding the wiring harness to the bracket on the cold side pipe. Next, remove the vacuum hose from the port on the cold side pipe. Then, using a 10mm socket, remove the bolts securing the hose bracket to the cold side pipe. Then, using an 8mm socket or a flathead screwdriver, loosen the clamp securing the coupler to the throttle body. Using a 10mm socket, remove the 2 bolts securing the cold side pipe to the engine and remove the pipe from the vehicle. Use a 10mm socket again to remove the 2 upper bolts securing the passenger side fan shroud to the radiator. There are an additional 2 bolts on the lower side of the fan shroud that need to be loosened but not fully removed. Then unplug the connector connecting the 2 fan shrouds. Next, remove the overflow hose from the port on the radiator, then lift the passenger side fan shroud straight up and remove it from the vehicle. Then you could use a 10mm socket again or a Phillips head screwdriver to loosen the clamps securing the hot side coupler to the turbo outlet. Remove the hot side pipe and coupler from the vehicle. Please note that the passenger side fan shroud is shown below, but it should be removed at this point. Next, install the 2 provided rubber weather strips as shown here. The larger strip will go on the vertical edge. These will protect the coupler from contacting the metal edges. After that, install one of the provided O-rings into the O-ring groove on each of the 2 pipes with a flange. A light coating of silicone grease can be applied to the O-rings to hold them in place to the grooves during installation. Once that's done, install the longer of the pipes with the flange onto the outlet of the Mishimoto intercooler. This should be done on the cold side. Using a T30 Torx bit, secure it with 2 of the provided M6 button head bolts. Torque the bolts to 7.5 foot-pounds. After that, install the shorter of the pipes with the flange onto the inlet of the Mishimoto intercooler. This should be done on the hot side. Using a T30 Torx bit, secure it with the remaining 2 of the provided M6 button head bolts. Torque the bolts to 7.5 foot-pounds. Then, install the provided straight coupler with the smaller diameter onto the end of the Mishimoto hot side pipe as shown below. Next, install the Mishimoto hot side pipe onto the vehicle and connect the other end of the straight coupler and 2 of the provided larger worm gear clamps to the pipe on the intercooler inlet. Leave the clamps loose for now. Then, install the end of the coupler labeled turbo out and the provided smaller worm gear clamp onto the turbo outlet. Connect the other end of this coupler to the end of the Mishimoto hot side pipe with 1 of the provided larger worm gear clamps. Leave these clamps loose for now. While the clamps are loose, adjust the orientation of the couplers and pipe to ensure it is in a position where it is not rubbing or contacting any other components, including the fan shroud. Once the location of the pipe is confirmed, tighten the 4 clamps. Once that's done, reinstall the passenger side fan shroud onto the 2 lower bolts on the radiator. Reinstall the 2 bolts in the upper fan shroud mounts. Tighten these 4 bolts using a 10mm socket. Then reconnect the fan shroud plug and radiator overflow hose. Next, using an 8mm socket, remove the bolt securing each of the 2 sensors to the stock upper cold side pipe and transfer the sensors onto the Mishimoto upper cold side pipe. Using a 4mm Allen wrench, secure each sensor to the Mishimoto pipe with one of the provided M5 button head bolts, M5 lock washers, and M5 flat washers. Next, using a 10mm socket, remove the bolt securing the bracket to the stock upper cold side pipe and transfer it to the Mishimoto upper cold side pipe. Using a 10mm socket, secure it with one of the provided M6 hex head bolts. Install the two provided rubber isolators onto the engine in the holes the stock upper cold side pipe bolted to. Then install the end of the coupler labeled throttle body onto the throttle body and secure it with one of the larger worm gear clamps. Next, install the end of the coupler labeled intercooler out and one of the provided worm gear clamps onto the pipe on the outlet of the intercooler. Leave the clamp loose for now. Install the remaining pipe and straight coupler and 3 remaining worm gear clamps into the coupler that was just installed and onto the Mishimoto upper cold side pipe as shown here. Adjust the orientation of the pipes and couplers if needed to ensure they are not rubbing or contacting any other components. Install the Mishimoto upper cold side pipe onto the vehicle, placing the end of the pipe and one of the provided larger worm gear clamps into the coupler that was installed earlier on the throttle body. Place the slots in the bracket on the Mishimoto pipe onto the studs of the rubber isolators. Then attach the Mishimoto upper cold side pipe to the lower cold side pipe. Using a 10mm socket, secure it with 2 provided M6 lock nuts. Then reconnect the wire harness clip into the bracket, the vacuum hose to the port on the Mishimoto pipe, and the 2 sensor plugs. Using the remaining provided M6 head bolt, secure the hose bracket to the upper Mishimoto cold side pipe and tighten the hose clamp securing the coupler to the pipe. Then tighten the other remaining clamps on the cold side pipes. Then you can go ahead and reinstall the air box onto the mounting peg. Then reinstall the pop clip into the air duct that had been removed earlier. Next, reinstall the 4 bolts that were removed to secure the air box and duct to the vehicle. Next, attach the ambient air temperature sensor to the tab on the Mishimoto intercooler. Using a 10mm socket and stock hardware, reinstall the plastic tray that was removed earlier. The tab on the plastic cover, which was removed earlier, needs to be trimmed. Cut the tab off of the cover in the way shown here. Once that's done, reinstall the plastic cover onto the crash bar using stock hardware that was removed earlier. The two pieces of Mishimoto intercooler ducting will come connected by a small tab. Cut this tab to separate the ducting into two parts. Then, using a Phillips head screwdriver, remove the 4 screws using the stock ducting to the bumper and remove the stock ducting. Once that's done, install the Mishimoto ducting onto the bumper using the 4 stock screws that were just removed. The Mishimoto ducting is labeled L for the left and R for right as seen when sitting in the vehicle. Once that's done, reinstall the bumper and the installation is now complete. Alright guys, that is it for this install video. But of course, if you want to purchase this intercooler kit for yourself, hit the first link down below in the description, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you all in the next one.